I see you.
Nibs is pregnant, or at least she thinks she is. She's also the first hybrid to violently lash out at Prodigy, and on top of that, she just got shot by Hermit in one of the most shocking scenes of Alien Earth. But here's the question, did she really die? Welcome back to Your Nerdy Show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. If you're new here, this is where we dive deep into the wildest twists, origins, and theories from your favorite shows. And today, we're breaking down the full story of Nibs, from her tragic beginnings as Rose Ellis to her meltdown inside Neverland to that electrifying cliffhanger. By the end of this video, you'll know whether Nibs' story is truly over or if Prodigy's lost girl still has more to say. The tragic beginning of Rose Ellis. Let's rewind before the chaos of Alien Earth. Before she became known as Nibs, she was just Rose Ellis, a young girl burdened with a terminal illness. Imagine being a child, stuck in a frail body, lying in bed night after night, terrified that you might not wake up in the morning. That was Rose's reality. The Prodigy Corporation swooped in with what looked like a miracle. They offered her a chance at a new life, but like everything with Prodigy, the gift came with a twisted price tag. Rose was whisked away to Neverland Research Facility, an isolated base where 5 children, including her, would undergo a groundbreaking and frankly horrifying transformation. At Neverland, the kids met Wendy, the very first child to survive the hybrid procedure, an experiment where human consciousness was uploaded into synthetic bodies. Rose, scared but curious, asked Wendy when they'd get to go home. Wendy's answer? They weren't going home, ever. From Rose Ellis to Nibs. Rose survived the procedure. She was transferred into an adult synthetic body, far from her sickly human shell. With this transformation came a new identity, Nibs, a code name drawn from Peter Pan's Lost Boys. She didn't get to pick the name, unlike Wendy, and the whole thing puzzled her. Why call them Lost Boys when half of them were girls? Why Peter Pan references at all? Right away, Nibs had trouble adjusting. Her new body was powerful, but her mind was still that of a scared child. While others adapted more quickly, Nibs struggled with identity, purpose, and control. That fragile mental state would only spiral further as events unfolded. The Maginot Crash and first encounter with the unknown. Nibs and the other hybrids were barely out of the lab when they were thrown into disaster. The USCSS Maginot crashed into New Siam, and the hybrids were deployed into the wreckage for rescue and recovery. Led by Kirsch, the group explored the corridors of the broken vessel. This is where things took a terrifying turn. Hanging from the ceiling, they found an alien organism unlike anything they'd ever seen. Kirsch ordered Curly to take Nibs and Smee to find containment gear. Inside a lab, they stumbled upon drained corpses of tactical soldiers, victims of parasitic tick-like creatures. They also discovered a cat infected by another bizarre alien organism that resembled a floating eyeball with writhing tentacles. When it detached and lunged at Nibs, she barely held it off, arms straining as it tried to latch onto her face. The others rushed in, fighting it off, and Curly managed to trap it under a steel container. But for Nibs, the damage was done. The experience shook her deeply. Back at Neverland, she wandered the corridors, staring into mirrors, obsessing over her synthetic body, and even poking at her own eyeball as though she couldn't quite accept what she'd become.
I said something!
The mental breakdown. Nibs' trauma never healed. It only grew. Soon, she started showing signs of a full-on mental breakdown. One of the most chilling moments comes when she told Dame Sylvia that she was pregnant. Think about that. Pregnant in a synthetic body. Impossible, right? But Nibs believed it with every fiber of her being. She was convinced there was a baby girl inside her. Dame Sylvia tried to reason with her, showing her charts, talking her through biology, but Nibs wasn't listening. She lashed out, yelling, even pushing Sylvia in a violent outburst. That moment marked her as unstable. Prodigy slapped her with a level 3 threat designation, essentially labeling her a danger to everyone around her. Security locked her in her room. For the first time, we see a hybrid not as Prodigy's miracle child, but as their liability, a ticking bomb.
Reset her to before the tower. Full memory wipe.
Memory wipe and manipulation. Things got even darker when Adam Ines, Boy Cavalier's right-hand man, demanded that Nibs's memory be wiped. He wanted her trauma erased, her personality rewritten, her edges softened into obedience. Arthur Sylvia resisted, knowing this was cruel and inhumane, but resistance cost him his job. Sylvia, under orders, brought Nibs back online after wiping the crash memories from her mind, but the reset didn't help. Instead, it left her confused and terrified. She didn't understand why she couldn't remember events, why her friends seemed to know things she didn't. That unease festered, making her mental state even more fragile.
I don't want to be a ghost.
The escape plan. Meanwhile, Wendy was starting to piece together the bigger picture. Prodigy didn't see them as children or even people. They were tools, experiments, assets to be exploited. When Wendy and Hermit planned to escape Neverland, Nibs agreed to join them. She was tired of the lies, tired of being controlled, and ready to break free. But unlike Curly, who stayed behind out of loyalty to Dame Sylvia, Nibs sided with Wendy. As part of the plan, Wendy created chaos by releasing a captive xenomorph, turning the facility into a bloodbath. Guards and scientists were ripped apart as the hybrids made their desperate run for freedom. Nibs was right in the middle of it, proving that she wasn't broken beyond repair, at least not yet. Nibs' final rampage. But then came the boat escape in episode 7. Wendy, Hermit, and Nibs were ambushed by Prodigy's military forces. Under pressure, Nibs snapped. Instead of retreating, she went berserk. Her hybrid strength gave her the power to tear soldiers apart like paper dolls. It was raw, brutal, and horrifying. This wasn't a child anymore. This was something new, something unstoppable. Wendy nearly called for a xenomorph to finish the job, but Hermit intervened. And then came the moment that shattered everything. Faced with a choice between siding with his hybrid sister or protecting his human friends, Hermit pulled the trigger. The pulse gun sent arcs of electricity ripping through Nibs's body. She collapsed, twitching, lifeless on the ground. For Wendy, it was betrayal. For Hermit, it was survival. For Nibs, it looked like the end.
Something's here.
It's getting close.
Is Nibs really dead? And here's the question that's been haunting fans since episode 7. Did Hermit actually kill Nibs? On the surface, it looked final. Gunshots, followed by the electric blast, then her body slumping motionless. But here's the thing, the very same weapon was used earlier in the season on a xenomorph. It didn't kill the creature. Also, the Joe, even his human, he survived because it only stunned it. And if a human could recover from that, why not a hybrid in a synthetic body? Episode 8's trailer gave us the answer. It showed Nibs alive. Not only alive, but active, present, and very much part of the finale. Her collapse wasn't the end. It was a cliffhanger. What her survival means. So what does Nibs' survival mean for alien Earth going forward? First, it confirms that hybrids are far tougher than anyone, even Prodigy realizes. If the stun weapon can't permanently take one down, then containing them is going to be nearly impossible. Second, Nibs' arc might not be about death, it's about identity, her breakdowns, her false pregnancy delusions, her violent rebellion. They're all rooted in the question, what does it mean to be human if you're no longer human? Nibs is the hybrid who embodies the struggle between memory, trauma, and synthetic existence more than anyone else. And her survival sets up a dramatic conflict. Hermit chose humanity over her. Once. Will Wendy forgive him for shooting her friend? Will Nibs forgive him if she learns the truth? Or will she become something darker, a symbol of hybrid rage unleashed? Nibs's journey also sheds light on Prodigy's failures. The corporation didn't just play God with human children. They didn't even bother to care for the minds they put into synthetic bodies. Nibs's trauma, her instability, her collapse into violence, all of it stems from neglect. Prodigy wanted weapons. They wanted proof of concept, but they never stopped to think about what would happen if those minds broke under the weight of their new existence. And now, with Nibs alive, unstable and dangerous, Prodigy's nightmare may just be beginning.
We're never going back.
Off the boat. Now!
Our nerdy thoughts. So, is Nibs really dead? No. Episode 8 confirms she's still alive and her story is far from over. From Rose Ellis, the dying child, to Nibs, the confused hybrid, to the violent outcast who shook Prodigy's foundations, her journey has been one of tragedy, pain, and rebellion. She represents both the hope and the horror of the hybrid project, the miracle that turned into a monster. And that's exactly why she's one of the most fascinating characters in Alien Earth. She's not just a lost boy, she's the lost girl who refuses to stay lost. And that's the wild story of Nibs, her tragic past, her shocking breakdown, and the truth about whether she's really gone. What do you think comes next for her in Alien Earth? Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into your favorite shows.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.